Good morning. Let's talk about drawing number 3, the pillow block. Okay. Now, a couple things that you may be, when you're trying to interpret this drawing, is how to start this drawing. Well, I'm giving you a center point here that's 3.5 inches off of this base, and the overall length of the part is 7.5. This line is at 60 degrees, and this one is at 60.15. Now, a couple things. You may think that this center point is at this point here, but it really isn't. Because if I extended the center line down, notice how it does not line up with that. Okay. Now, the other thing that you want to be aware of is this line. So let me get a line here. This line, if we extend this line, notice how it crosses into the center of that part, in the center of where these intersections. So you have this line and this extension of that 60 degrees. So you've created basically an intersection. The other thing you want to be aware of is at this point right here, where this line meets this arc, this is called the point of tangency. So that is tangent there. I mean, that's a pretty poor looking tangent symbol, but that's the point of tangency. So when you go into AutoCAD, you're going to start using a new command called offset. And that's the command right here. So it's offset. So it says specify offset distance. Well, this base flange of this part is 1 inch, and then this one. So I'm going to offset all these horizontal lines. So offset at 1, enter. I'm going to select my object and select my side. Boom, there it is. Now, I have this line here, which is going to be our construction line, is at 3.5. So again, offset, 3.5, enter. Select the baseline, and then select the side. Alright, now I'm going to draw this 60 degrees, alright, this 60 degrees right here. So I have this intersection so I can create those two arcs. And now you're going to add these two together to get that point along that line. Okay, so again, I'm going to start a line. So line, enter, and I'm going to start here. Remember, I'm going to use my extension. So 5.63 is where that line starts. Again, I don't care about the length of the line. Alright, I don't really care about the length. So I'm going to just use that number, whatever number it is, because I know it's intersecting this line up here. All right, then on the drawing, it's 60 degrees here. So whatever's, so you take 160 minus 180, or 180 minus 60, and that's 120 degrees. So we'll put 120 in there and then enter. Now I have created that intersection there. So at that intersection, I'm going to do both of these radiuses, the 1.62 and the 2.56. Oops. So circle. Specify the center point. 1.62, enter. And then I have 2.56, circle. 2.56. All right. Now, I know it looks like a jumble lines. We're not ready to trim things out quite yet. But I want you to go down to your Object Snap menu. Okay, and then I'm going to want you to turn Tangent on. So you turn Tangent on, and turn Center off, and hit OK. So now I'm going to create a line, from this point, and again extension, and that extension is at 3.75 right here, this guy. 3.75, enter. And that one, see, notice how that tangent object snap pops up right there. And then I'm going to click. Oops, let me undo that. I don't know if that clicked in the right spot. Okay, click. There we go. Now I'm going to use my trim command. So trim. So I'm going to start trimming things out. So these are my two cutting lines. Hit enter. And I'm going to remove that. So if you go back to your drawing, see how we've got an intersection. Move this out of the way. So we got this intersection, this line coming. Then you have this line here, another flat line. Oops. So now I'm going to take this line and offset that. So offset. I'm going to offset that at 1 inch. So this guy goes here to there, it offsets. Alright. So now I'm going to trim again. Here's my cutting. Enter. Get rid of that. Cutting. Get rid of this guy. So now you can kind of see how this drawing's starting to develop. So I'm trimming this, and getting rid of that. Okay, so we're getting most of it. Now, if you notice in here, there's a radius here, all right, and then there's a big radius right here. They're both the same radiuses. So I'm going to fillet, and of course, I'm going to radius, and that radius is 0.5. So I'm going to click here. All right, notice how I got rid of the rest of this line. Well, I can undo that and then go and fill it again, and I'll turn trim off. So where it says trim here, and then you say no trim. Oops. So fillet radius 0.5 and trim, no trim. So I'm selecting this line and selecting that line. There's that fillet. All right, but of course it left that line. So now I can trim. Say this is my cutting line, and this is my cutting line, and I'm getting rid of that. Okay, now I can trim again. And here's my cutting line, and here's my cutting line, and I can get rid of this arc. All right, now you're really starting to see this drawing develop here. Now I'm going to do a line and connect this endpoint to this endpoint, and then a line going from that endpoint to that endpoint, and then trim, cutting this line, get rid of that line. Now, the only things you need to do yet is this radius right here. So, fillet, the prior radius is in there. Select this guy, select that guy. See, it didn't trim it out, so I'm going to undo that. And then fill it again, and I'm going to turn my trim back on. So, click trim, select this one. Select that one, and notice how it trimmed it out. Okay, the only thing that's really left with this drawing is the dimensioning, and you guys are pretty confident in all the dimensioning. That's nothing new about the dimensionings. And don't forget about your line weight for the object lines.